We are so back. Welcome back to another episode of Wheel to Wheel. It is finally race week again. We had a bit of a hiatus last week. Kind of tough. I think the only thing that I got news of or heard of was lots of rumors about a full scale driver switch between George Russell and Max Verstappen. And it just kind of felt like people need something to talk about. I'm not
Yeah,
buying it. I'm passing it. That is it. I'm just going to mention it. But yeah, Grant, good to be back.
good to be back. I'm with you. It's kind of the only thing I heard too. I saw a lot of press on Lando, just that
Yep.
he's, unhappy or whatever. And it's like, dude, if I was the guy at McLaren and then all of a sudden we get a good car and my teammate starts outperforming me, I would be hard on myself too. That's kind of how it goes. It's a competitive spirit. You can't hate
Yeah.
on him for that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of all he was commenting on was it wasn't really like I'm unhappy. It was more of along the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm just being extremely hard on myself. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
fair. But I also just think he doesn't need to talk about it as much as he does. I'm kind of a firm believer in the idea if you talk about it, you make it way more of a thing than it is.
Yeah.
So I just worry that he just puts emanates all this pressure on himself by just constantly telling him that it's there and that he's I don't know, struggling with the car or I can't figure this out or I can't figure that out when it's like you actually could be driving pretty well. It's just that somebody else on your team, as you just said, is driving better.
Yeah. It's
So
part of the game, man. It's part of the sport.
truly is. And that guy is, of course, Oscar Piastri, who I picked to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix 2 weeks ago to take us to 9-9.
Oh,
Tied
yeah.
up in our little battle between each other. Guess first place, you get 3 points. Guess second, you get two. And guess third, you get one. So, with that being said, do you really think I'm not going to pick my boy Oscar to win the
No,
Miami Grand Prix? Even
I
though
know
this
you're going
is
to pick him.
even though this is Lando's track. First
Yeah.
win ever on Miami last
Hmm.
year. Also, they're officially tied in wins already. Oscar and Lando have the same amount of wins.
Jeez.
I think they're both at 5. I could be incorrect, but yeah, they're tied. So, I have Oscar winning. I do have Lando going second, which is total cop out. And then
Easy
third,
way out.
it is easy, but I just feel like Lando's actually going to have a good race again. So that is why I'm doing that. And then I think third is the hardest because
Yeah.
Mercedes blew up in Saudi Arabia. The tires just went out of nowhere. And then Max was just, of course, qualified and drove pretty fantastic in Saudi Arabia. So I
Sure.
want to say Max, but I just have like, and it's funny because last week I said George, but in my heart I was like, I feel like it's Verstappen. I don't know why I even said that, and I even left Verstappen out of the top 10 just in general because I was being an idiot. So I think I'm gonna have to say Charles Leclerc.
Oh, he gets on the train.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Charles, I think will just follow up with another podium. He got third last race. I just see him doing it again. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
he looks
a
quick in that
thing to
car.
point out is the similarities of these tracks going from Jeddah here is street circuit, right? Uh, all your references for your speed and everything. I mean, the track is narrow and it turns into a wind tunnel. Like, I don't know if you maybe heard the announcers talking about how Albon was saying once the cars get going around, there's a current of air. There's a
Yep.
constant
Yep.
current of air. There's going to be the same thing at this track. A lot of dirty air. You're not going to be able to follow close, which I think is going to lead to the Mercedes demise.
Hmm.
I think Charles will perform well again, but I think the McLaren's going to be the standout. I have the opposite. I have Lando Oscar and then Leclerc.
I literally thought you were gonna do that. By the way, oh no, last week you did Lando George off. I'm just kidding.
The Mercedes isn't going to, I don't think. I mean, maybe they bring upgrades and maybe they fix the problem, but it's, I just see similarities that it's going to be warmer. It's a tighter track. There's going to be hot air going around that place
So
24/7.
so you're seeing a potential similar race to Saudi.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the question. This was the original cutoff for Jack Doohan. What do we think? Do we think he's
Yeah.
I think he's obviously racing. I don't think
Yeah.
the cutoff is happening, but I guess it is kind of now officially crunch time. I don't think if he gets in the points, he maintains this seat at the latest after summer. But I mean, he could literally get swapped after this race. This could be his final race in F1.
Yeah.
Period. It
Yeah.
just kind of sucks, but also it just is what it is with Alpine.
I think we're at that point. We're at where they said it would happen. But at the same time, what state is that vehicle in?
They're like the weirdest team in my opinion because they should be in like a rebuild basically in my opinion. I think they should be kind of like refiguring things back out, but the issue is they went out and got all of the celebrity investors. And so they're just in the stage of we need to win now. But it's like they're not even close to ready to win now. Gasly does great in the car. He just figures out a way to get points. We always talk about that. But I mean, they're still ninth in the constructors.
Yeah.
They got one car that gets a point maybe every other race if they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
But then the midfield now is just so competitive. Like, I mean, Haas and Williams are at 20, Haas at 20, Williams at 25, and Alpine's at 6. So it's just, I mean, they're bottom tier. They're fighting for like P8 with Racing Bulls and P7 with Aston Martin. So
right.
They have imposter syndrome and the opposite effect of most people have, where they believe they're a top tier team. But I think it's just because they feel the pressure of the funding and the potential that Alpine will no longer be a team and they're just going to have to rebrand and get a new main sponsor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not looking too good. But I do think they've just been sitting on that Franco feeling for too long now. Pause. But I think they have to let him give it a go. They really just have to put him in the car and see what he can do. Because if they can consistently get points and Franco can get up there and fight, it's game over. I mean, then they can surely start climbing their way to the actual midfield and get out of the bottom 3.
A couple avenues I could see this going down is when they start building and testing the smaller car, they're just going to let Franco own that shit. I mean, they know that Pierre is going to be their guy, and Franco also knows that Pierre is going to be their guy. But when this thing starts getting developed and starts needing testing and, what have you, if Franco can get in there and own that thing, cool. If that's when they do the thing I talked about forever ago and just let Doohan and Franco go head to head for that second seat and say, look, man, here's our new car. It's smaller. Yes. All these new regulations. Yes. Get in there. Go head to head. Give us your best stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But the one thing I will say is, Franco's on a 3-year loan, correct?
Yeah.
Basically. So, the idea is that Carlos will either leave, retire, or even Albon, I guess, if heaven forbid somebody falls off. But, I mean, so 3 years and the idea that potentially Franco could bounce back to Williams. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I mean, we've kind of talked about it where I'm on the same boat as you where if the trajectory of Williams keeps going, we could see Carlos staying there for a while, and him and Albon seem to work really well together, especially after seeing Saudi. So, I mean, Alpine could just have a driver too for a very long period of time if Franco's really good and he gets along well with Pierre. But yeah, I've always liked what you said about that. I think that's interesting, and I personally would like to see it. I just think they need to get him in the car just to see what he can do. Yep,
you got to give him a chance. You can't the other avenue they could go down and would butcher the whole thing is wait way too long, throw him in there and go, oh dang, that would have been good.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like when he got in the car. It was so poorly done in my opinion.
It was last year.
Logan should have obviously been subbed out during the summer break. He comes back from one race, catches the car on fire, a horrible crash, and then they put Franco in the car immediate. Was it immediate double points or was he just outside the points? I think he was just outside.
Just outside, and then
double points in Baku. So I mean, and then you're just sitting there imagine we finished 9th last year in the constructors, and it's could you imagine what we could have done with him? Can't play that game, but I mean, we learned it for them, so why would they not adjust it based on what Williams did last year? So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I guess that kind of leads us to your ideas for the top 10. I mean, based on what we're looking at, I think it's going to be a similar mix. I just see the Williams, when it comes to the midfield battle, being a more consistent contender.
They're a tier above. The midfield is 2 teams, right?
It's
Like,
Haas and Williams.
yeah, like, so do you call that the midfield? I guess because there's still a significant delta between them and the front runners,
Yeah, the jump
but
to
there's
Ferrari's a lot.
also a significant delta between them and those last few teams because those last few teams are garbage this year.
Yeah, but then it's interesting because the Racing Bull, for example, the V carb was catching up to the Williams. Specifically Albon. Carlos was very positive. If you listen to the radio messaging when
Yep.
they were doing the DRS train, that he was like, we can just outpace this kid. I don't know why we're doing this. But I think Albon's car, to whatever reason it was struggling a little bit more. But I mean, truthfully, the Racing Bulls is getting faster. But once again, the Red Bull was just good on that track, and that could have just been track oriented. I think
Right.
kind of what we're running into, where it just seems like if the midfield is everybody else besides the top four teams, being McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari, it just feels like the Williams can compete better on almost every track in comparison to the other ones. Like
Yeah.
Haas has even had a couple where it's just like, what the heck just happened? Whereas
Right.
like when Williams screws up, it's more of like a strategy or a poor qualifying or an FIA issue where Hulkenberg should have gotten DQ'd and we see Albon move on to Q2.
Yeah, they start a foot behind.
So I'm kind of with you. When it comes to points in general for Miami, I do think Max will probably be fourth or third. I think he's just going to be up there. Sadly, I've kind of been on this train that the Lewis Hamilton situation was a little bit overhyped. I'm still on that train. I'm not a full believer yet until he makes me a believer. So because of that, I think George Russell goes fifth, just behind Verstappen. I think they have a pretty good fight with each other. Sixth place, Kimi Antonelli. I think Hamilton is married to seventh place right now.
Yep.
I see him sticking there again. And then I think probably the latter half of it is just going to be a mix between four drivers. I'm going to give benefit to my guys. I'm going to go 8, 9, both the Williams. And then 10 is an absolute toss-up between one of the Haas, Yuki Tsunoda, or a stray Pierre Gasly having a phenomenal race. Or Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah.
Who am I saying?
Hadjar.
Hadjar as well. So I don't think it's going to be Hadjar again. I just have a feeling the Frenchman is staring at me on my other screen right now. I think, and you're going to say, which Frenchman? I think Ocon is P10.
Yeah. For the rest of mine, I'm gonna say we got George P4,
Okay.
Lewis surrounded by the Mercedes, George 4, Lewis 5,
5.
Kimi 6, Max 7. I'm gonna go
Max 7?
Max 7.
I can't talk. I had Max not even in the top 10 last week, so I'm an idiot.
Shoot, Max 7.
8, 9,
Let's
10.
go.
3 guys.
Let's go. Ollie,
Okay.
Carlos,
Okay.
Ocon. Double points for Haas.
Interesting. You really think the Williams is not going to strategize together?
The Haas could too. If I pick 11th, I'm putting Albon 11th.
Yeah, I mean Albon's on the points or just out of the points. It's seemingly. I mean,
every time.
he's got
That's how he
20.
rolls.
He's got 20 points this season, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. Also, side note about Alpine, how we're just kind of crapping on them. They're tied with Kick for points. They both have 6, and that's both off of one performance from Hulk and one performance from Gasly. So insane. Aston Martin, we're just not talking about, by the way.
There's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing
They're
to talk
terrible.
about. It's crazy
They're
though.
terrible.
But you know what I mean? It's not even like we're selectively picking. They're just not being talked about because nothing is happening not of importance, but there's just no movement. So I really do hope. I think Aston Martin surprisingly could change to a different team name in the next 2 years. But I would love if they. I just feel like something's gonna happen. I feel like something big's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna be the Stroll Verstappen move, not a trade. Stroll leaves, Verstappen comes in, and I just have a feeling. But hopefully we can start talking about them sometime soon. Racing Bulls is one driver. It's Isaac Hadjar, which is crazy to think. Wow, they have Liam Lawson listed in front of them. The audacity. And then obviously Kick Sauber we don't talk about as well, but that's because they're dead last.
Yeah.
Here's a question. You said the Mercedes is going to struggle. My question is, when is the first rookie going to get a podium?
Oh man, I don't know.
Because I only think
I mean, it's going to be Kimmy.
it
We
has
know
to be
it's going to be
Kimmy.
Kimmy.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know.
if we're going to play this out, what's going to happen is there's going to be an Italian race, whether it's Monza or Imola,
Yeah.
and it's going to be Lewis, Kimmy, Charles, and the place is going to erupt. Italy might break off of Europe.
That's a very fun prediction. I really like that. I think it would be Kimmy winning, and the two Ferraris coming at the end.
That'd be wild.
And
then Kimmy gets traded to Ferrari because Lewis gets old.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Ferrari has to look at him and lick their chops. But but the thing is that there's no way Ollie Behrman's straight going into that seat.
Yeah,
or Carlos Sainz is going back. I mean, Carlos, if you're Carlos and they offered,
dude, he's gonna stay at Williams. He's not coming back.
If they offered him a seat in 2, I mean, heck, Williams is probably going to be better than Ferrari, I think, next year based on regulations and power units. Because you guys aren't rocking with.
That is a crazy take.
It's not crazy because you guys aren't rocking with Mercedes, and it's the better power unit by unanimous.
Yeah, because we're sticking with our blood, making our own power unit.
Okay, cool. But I'm just saying, I think it's going to be, for the first year at least, the superior power unit, and Williams is going to be a top 4 team.
That's wild.
That's not a crazy take, bro. We're not even.
You think they're going to be ahead of Ferrari?
Yeah, I do, actually. Truthfully.
Well, then there's your hot take for the rest of the season.
Okay, so I'm fully bought in, obviously.
I would put $500 on that right now.
Not putting $500 on it. But I'm fully bought in to the delusion, absolutely. I think that the 4 fastest teams next year are going to be McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, Ferrari.
So whoever finishes higher in the constructors next year, if it's Williams, I owe you a dinner. If it's Ferrari, you owe me a dinner.
We have to shave our head.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I can't, dude. I'm already like a solid 6. I can't drop to a 4, dude. I'm messing. I can't do it, bro.
Dude.
Yeah. I guess that's my hot take. I don't know. I just feel like they've been all in on 2026 for a while now. We're not even making improvements to our car this season. We're stuck with how it is to an extent. Like who are
your top? It was for next year. It was
Mercedes. McLaren, because they both rock with the Mercedes power unit.
Okay,
Williams.
I was making sure you left Red Bull out.
Yeah, absolutely. Williams with the power unit from Mercedes as well.
No Aston. Adrian Newey.
Honda. It's Honda power unit, and they're already open talking about how they're struggling with it.
Yeah.
So then I think Ferrari probably. But here's the thing with Ferrari is that they've gone from being so fast to being like freaking 7th in the constructors. Where I feel like Williams is at least kind of on a trajectory. Nah, not really. We're 7th and we're 9th, and then we're whatever. But I don't know. Alpine's also using Mercedes power unit. I know power unit's not everything. There's aero, and there's a lot more that goes into it. But
there's a lot more money that goes into the rest of the stuff than the power.
I know, but we also have Atlassian now. We have like an actual team fully backing us.
You do have a sponsor, yeah.
So I mean, it's we're like an actual team at this point, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. I'm bought into the hype. Like if you have a team principal who's literally like P10, I don't give a rip if we get P10. It's fine because next year's next year. I'm all in on it. So
sure,
we'll see. It is a hot take, but if that rivalry could pop up, that'd be so cool. The battle of the British teams between McLaren, well, Mercedes is German, so battle of McLaren, Mercedes would be fun.
In England,
and then Williams and Ferrari, like the good old days, would be sweet. If Williams came out with the old school livery too, the yellow and the blue, or even the green and the white, that would be so clean. They won't.
They need to go full Golf.
Yeah, but I didn't like the Golf has been on a McLaren too, so it's really.
It's been everywhere.
It's
anything that's tied in with Mercedes can do Golf.
So cool, bro. Oh, such a cool livery. All right, well, this is like full sidetrack, but okay, let's just say, what do we do? Hot and cold take of the race.
Yep.
I did one for the next year, so
yeah,
you're welcome. Nobody. Hot and cold take for the race.
Hot take. I don't know. Do you have one?
It's still technically a hot take based on the people I talk to. I just think because there's such a fandom behind the guy, I think Oscar Piastri continues to demonstrate his superiority to Lando. just not making mistakes. Max even made a comment on it. This guy barely makes any mistakes. It's just true. Oscar just drives so cleanly. He has
He's a
balls of
robot.
steel. Yeah, I mean, he does that overtake on Lewis on the outside in
that's
Saudi
wild.
Arabia. Like, he's just a racer, and I think he's just going to, every single race over time, I think he's just going to start declaring, yeah, I am that guy. This isn't just a little bit of a fluke. This is me legitimately being this Aussie freak
Yeah.
who just shows up week over week and just puts in a good drive. So I think
Mhm.
that's still a hot take because everybody's like, well, Lando's quicker. Okay, he was quicker, but he's getting out qualified, and that's the one area that he was superior in. I think Oscar just continues to put his foot on the gas and demonstrates how he is the definitive driver one. And I think, I mean, look, the papaya rules I think is going to get credit to McLaren where credit's due, where they've just let these guys naturally decide who it is.
Right.
There's been no issue of sorry, you are driver one. Sorry, you're driver two. It's just this is how it worked, man. Like you guys battled and Oscar's pulled ahead and it is what it is.
Hmm.
So that's my hot take.
I'll go hot take. Doesn't have any correlation with my prediction. My hot take is going to be, I'm going to say Kimmy podium.
You don't even have Kimi on podium for this.
Yeah, I know. That's why
Oh,
it's a hot take.
you're just throwing it out there.
I'm just throwing darts.
I'm giving it all that I got.
I'm giving it everything, man.
Yeah, I just did an Irish accent. I'm giving it everything, mate. That's funny. All right, cold take.
Cold take, McLaren win. Easy.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, cold take. Charles still dominates Lewis.
Yeah, it's fair.
So he's just struggling to figure the car out, and it kind
Yeah,
of sucks because we just had it. They had the two comparisons of each other, Carlos and Lewis, and it feels like Carlos has now figured the car out more than
Yeah.
Lewis has. So
Which,
it's a tough look.
I mean, inevitably the guy's going to figure it out. He's a 7-time world champ. He knows how to
Yeah.
drive. Yeah, he's getting a little older. It may just take more time. I haven't lost hope. He's scoring points. He'll work his way up. I mean, he won the sprint, but even after he won the sprint, it didn't follow with anything fantastic.
No.
So, yeah, there's still room to grow. There's still time. It's still early, but we can't say that forever. So that's where I leave it.
Yeah, I agree. There has to come a certain point, like where you're like, okay, maybe this just isn't working right now. Let's hope for next year's regulations.
Yeah.
But I will say, in defense of Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz was sort of the neighborhood bicycle. He has literally given everybody a drive, basically. He's been with Renault, McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and now Williams. Like, he's been all over. So adapting to cars is not something new for him, whereas Lewis hasn't switched cars in, what was it, 12 years?
Yeah.
So
Did
a
you
little
say
bit of a
McLaren
difference.
for Carlos?
Yeah.
I forget about the McLaren Carlos.
Yeah.
case.
And he got replaced by Daniel Ricciardo twice.
Yeah.
He got replaced by Daniel and Renault, and then he got replaced by
Yeah.
Daniel and McLaren, which aged horribly. But I think he upgraded both times. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no,
he did.
McLaren was bad when he went there, and Renault was
But
pretty.
so was Renault's ass. Dude.
Renault was getting quicker, I guess. But then they had like the weird spell where Daniel won the race with McLaren and Lando got P2. But yeah, I mean they were both not super great, but he got booted for Daniel twice, but when he got booted for McLaren, he was like, "Oh no, I have to go to Ferrari," and then he had a great 4-year stint there.
Dang. Yeah. No,
Oh, dang.
I was so hyped when we picked him up. I was like, yeah, that's the guy. He's a dog.
Yeah, it was a great driver pairing. I think there's less drama in this driver pairing right now than there was with Charles, but it's also so early. So I just think he brings the best out of the team and the driver, which is just a huge compliment to him. Like, this is
Are
the
you
best
talking about on the Ferrari end or the Williams end?
I'm saying Williams end right now. I'm saying their rivalry with Charles and Carlos was great. Like, they were good friends, but they were really good rivals. Yeah. And then I said right now it seems less animosity, but it's early.
There's no drama because Lewis isn't up front with Charles. They haven't had the chance to even race each other.
Oh, no, there will be. I think absolutely will be. If Lewis came in and started winning or like out qualifying
Charles would go nuts.
Oh, it would be so bad.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But I think the Carlos's credit, I don't know if we can say the same for Lewis because he's only gone to like one team. Obviously he drove for McLaren as well, but Wherever Carlos goes, because he's been around so much, he seems to not just bring the best out of the team, but also his teammates. This is
Yeah.
the most impressive we've seen Alex Albon, besides potentially his debut in Red Bull when he replaced Pierre Gasly, and everybody was like, "Dude, this kid can drive." And I mean, Albon was the guy when it came to being a go-karter, which is hilarious to think, when he was in the class with Leclerc and all those guys.
Yeah.
So it's like he was the guy, like he was the fastest or faster dude, and everybody apparently was like, "Yeah, he was the dude that we're all like intimidated to go against." But I don't know, it's just cool to see everybody leveling up around him. So it's exciting. Good to be back. Good to talk shop. We were literally like, yeah, we haven't talked in a while. I don't know. I feel like I'm not in it, and then we just started talking. And
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been busy and we had a lot of stuff to barf out. We just got down about 4 different rabbit holes, and here we are.
And funny enough, we will be watching this Miami Grand Prix together, but not in the United States, because why would we?
Why would we?
We'll be watching. We'll be giving it everything I have.
Yeah.
And
are we giving it everything, mate?
But we'll be watching on European time.
Yes, sir.
It'll be fun. So we'll let everybody know how that goes. Grant's getting married, so congrats to the fella. And
there we go. Public service announcement.
Yeah. I'm off the table.
I'm off the table.
But the table. His hand's going to be a little heavier in the next podcast, and we will see y'all then.
Yep.
Peace.